Hello there folks, and welcome back to the third part of the Revell Mandalorian Razor Crest build series. And in this part we are going to be taking a look at the clear parts, and we are also going to be doing some panel lining on the body shell. So I'm going to make a start with the clear parts. I just want to test fit them first before I do anything else on here. Just to see if I need to make any adjustments to get them to fit, because I have heard that they can be a little bit tricky and they need a little bit of sanding just to get things to fit nicely. So I'll get all those parts off the sprues and then we'll get to it. See you in a minute. Right, so everything's off the sprue and I've got the UMP thinny sticks here just to clean up the sprue connection points. So I'm starting off with 400, just really gently. You really don't want to scratch up the clear part and damage it. Super gently. Just give them a light sand just to bring them back. So this is the 400 grit. It's just doing a great job at removing this connection point here. You can see there's a couple of little spots of flash just on the corner there. Same again, just very light sanding. Just takes it clean off. Just a little spot there. And then what I like to do as well is just go in with the higher grits. So step it up to the 800 just to smooth it off so you don't have a rough finish. We may have to be sanding more of this back just to get it fit, but we'll test fit that in a second. Just go in with the 800 grit just over where you've been sanding. It just helps smooth it off a bit. And then same again with the 1200. Thing I like as well with these is if you look at them side on, because these all look kind of similar, you're seeing them on the table, slightly different colours of grey, but if you turn them on their side, you can see the 800s get this kind of orangey yellow, the 400s get the yellow, the 1200s get the black, so it's really easy to see, because these are the ones that I've used the most for cleaning up flash and sprue connection points, mould lines, stuff like that. Is these three. Start with the 400, up to the 800, then up to the 1200 just to smooth it off. We've also got like the 1800, but these are different colours. Sorry, not the 1800, the 180. They're in white, so they're really obvious what ones you're using. And then you've got the 3000 and the 12,000. So this would be more for polishing and buffing and stuff like that. It's very, very smooth. So yeah, they're pretty obvious. The light blue on one side, white on the other. But I just like that, different coloured centres on them, makes it really easy to see what one it is you're using. Right, so anyway, we'll get this, try this big section of glass here, see how it fits in. That's not too bad, a little press fit, and that fits in there quite nice actually. I'd read a couple of people sort of reviewing the kit and they said that they had a bit of a problem with some of the glass parts, but that first part was went in, no problem at all. I'll just check the rest of them. This front part a little bit tight. I haven't cleaned the sprue connection point off there, but I mean that's pushed in there without much trouble. So yeah, I mean that's fine, no problem. Once I clean up that connection point, that should fit in there perfectly. These ones on the side. This one goes in here. Yep, that one fits fine too. And no, let's fill back out again. Yep, that one fits. Yeah, I don't see any problems with these. Once I've cleaned up the sprue points, they're going to fit in perfectly. So I'll do that, get these all cleaned up, and then we'll come back and take a little look at how it all fits. Right, so after a little bit of test fitting, no problems with all of the windows except for these two at the top here. They need a little bit of work just to get them to sit in flush. If you don't, they're not sitting in flush and there's a small gap at the bottom there, so I'm going to sand them. It's really on the sides. I'm going to take just a tiny bit off either side just to get it to sit flush so that we don't have a gap at the bottom of the window there. So I'm going to do that, and then yeah, we'll see how that fits. So what I like to do with my clear parts, this especially in cars, is I like to just take a Sharpie, it's a black Sharpie, and just go around all the edges with the Sharpie. And what that does is it gives the impression of there being a rubber seal around the glass, which you would find on car headlights, stuff like that. So I'm going to do it with this just to give it a bit of definition around the edges of the glass when they're in place. So literally all you do is just get your Sharpie and just carefully go around the edge. Don't worry if you get it onto the actual main flat surfaces of the clear part, as it wipes off relatively easily if you catch it quick enough. If you let it dry, yeah, it might take a bit of work to get it off, but yeah, just be really careful. Just use the Sharpie kind of on its side and just run it along the sides there, and you can see got that black edge on it, which you can't really see like that when you're looking at it straight on, but once it's on the model, it will give the impression of there being a rubber seal round the glass. It's a really handy tip I picked up. I can't remember where I picked it up from, but yeah, I do it in all my builds, and it makes I think it makes a massive difference to the look. It gives the glass a more realistic look. I've also seen people do it with clear blue, clear green, stuff like that, so it gives the impression of there being tinted glass just at the corners, which works really well on older cars. But yeah, I just like using the black Sharpie, and like I say, it gives the impression of there being a seal around everything. Get my camera to focus. So it's as easy as that. Just need to be careful, like I say, if you get it on the main parts of the glass, but if you catch it quick enough, it wipes straight off. If you let it dry, it should come off with maybe like a wet cotton bud, or just a little spot of alcohol or something should take that clean off. And then put it in the model. If I didn't drop it inside. There we go. Yep, so you just put it in the model, and it's barely noticeable, but I think it makes a bit of a difference. Gives it a more, I don't know, realistic look. So I'm not going to glue the clear parts in place at the moment. I want to do all the weathering first on the bodywork before I put any clear parts in place. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get the weathering stuff out, and we're going to make a restart on that, and then we'll show you how we do that. Right, so ready to begin the panel lining and weathering process. So for this, I'm going to be using the Ultimate weathering wash. It's the dark colour. It is really dark wash. So I'm going to use this for all the panel lining, and I'm going to show you how to use it. So first of all, I'm going to just decant this, give the bottle a good shake first, and then I'm just going to decant some into here, just so I'm not contaminating anything in the bottle. And then I'm going to get a flat brush and just start brushing it on to the model, making sure I'm getting everything into the panel lines and little crevices and stuff. Now this can be airbrushed on, but I'm just going to be doing this because the model is so big. I want to do it in sections, so I'm going to just brush it on in sections and work it that way, because I'm worried if I get to, by the time I get to the end, one half will be dried or whatever. So I just want to do it in parts. The airbrushing might work better for smaller models and things like that, but just because this is such a big model, I just want to have a bit more control and work it into the panel lines with the brush. So start off, just get this front portion of the wing done, and you just want to cover the whole thing, working it into all the panel lines, just making sure everything's covered. It will pull slightly, but that's totally fine, because we will be wiping a lot of this back off again. You're just really making sure that it's going into the panel lines and where you want it to go. Now this is over, I've clear coated over this. You really want to do it over a clear coated model, whether that be flat clear, semi-gloss or gloss clear, just to protect your paint. So you don't want to do this directly onto paint without some kind of clear coat over the top of it, just in case. You don't want to damage your paintwork by putting this on and it potentially lifting paint or just affecting your hard work. So it's always a good idea to clear coat your models anyway, regardless, just to protect your paintwork. Right, so I think that'll do for this section. So now what I need to do is leave this to dry for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, just until it's completely dried. You can speed up the process with a hairdryer, but I'm just going to go grab myself some lunch while this dries, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Alright, so it's been about 20 minutes or so and everything is dry. So I'm going to show you what you do next. So basically just get a bit of paper towel, and all you want to do is just wet it slightly, so not soaking wet, just sort of damp. You don't want water dripping everywhere. So just so that the paper's slightly damp, and then all you're going to do is just go and start wiping it off. As you can see, it's all in the panel lines. A little bit at the front there I want to reapply, but just lightly rub it with your damp paper towel, and it just removes it and leaves the wash in the panel lines. Super easy, no need to use mineral spirits or anything like that. Just water, damp paper towel. You can see how it's settled into all the panel lines. There's a couple of little spots where the panel lines are slightly wider, which I'm going to have to go back and reapply. But yeah, Really nice effect, really highlights all the panel lines on this model, which there are quite a few. So I'm going to go and do the rest of this and get it all covered, get all the panel lines, and we'll come back and have a look at this top part here and we'll see what it looks like once I'm done. Right, so that's the top part of the model. I've put the wash on, I've wiped it all back off, my hands are manky, so I would recommend wearing gloves for this because you will get really dirty hands. But the effect is really great. It's highlighted all the panel lines. I've left some heavier spots in some areas, like in these recesses in here, around like some of these like canisters and stuff like that, just to highlight them, give them a bit more shadow. But yeah, there are a couple of little bits I'm going to reapply. Just there's some really wide panel lines, and I think I just need to go in just like a couple of spots here and up the side, excuse me. Might just need a little spot just to darken those again. But yeah, I'm really impressed with how that's turned out. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to get the rest of the ship done. The engines, landing gear and the bottom part of the body, and then I'll have a wee look once everything's in place. Once that's done, I'm going to do a little bit of sort of more weathering with the different shades of the wash. Because this is landed, I've got to have it with the landing gear down and the doors open. I'm going to put some sandy kind of dirt along the bottom on the landing gear and on the bottom of the ship. I'm also going to put some like streaks coming up the wings and the engines to give it the impression that it's been flying, maybe a little bit of damage to the ship almost. But yeah, so I'll go and get the rest of that done and we'll take a look at it once everything's all been panel lined, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so I'm going to start getting the interior parts all put together. We're starting off with the cockpit. So just be putting everything in place, gluing it all together, and then once that is done, we are going to put it in the ship and we will get the ship weathered. So yeah, I'll just be using the MIG Ammo plastic cement, extra thin. Actually ended up with this because they were out of stock of Tamiya extra thin in the local hobby shop, and picked this up instead. It's actually quite a good glue. So what you might notice is when I'm putting this together that there is no Mandalorian figure in the ship, and that's because I have decided to make this into a diorama. Once I'm finished building it, later on I am going to make a base for it, and I'm going to print off, I'm going to 3D print a Mandalorian standing outside the ship with Grogu and have it sitting on the base. So that's my plan for it. So I'll do that once everything else is finished, but that means that I won't be putting Mandalorian in the actual ship itself. So next part here, I'm going to start installing the landing gear, getting that in place, and yeah. So once this landing gear's on, the weapons and stuff like that, Also the windows, I am going to do a bit more weathering. As you've seen earlier in the sort of earlier part of the video, I did all the panel lining and stuff on the ship. So, but I'm going to go a bit further with the weathering, and but I want to finish the main body of the ship, have everything in place, and then do the weathering on the outside. But I think we'll probably end the video where we're at. We've got all the interior together, and we'll pick up in the next video with the exterior parts, get all that assembled, get the weathering done, and then hopefully we'll have a finished model to show. So if you've made it this far in the video, thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out Ultimate Modelling Products on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and our website umpretail.com, and I will see you in the final episode of this build series very soon. Cheers, bye.